Hello everybody, so we're going to be doing a Godwyn video part 2. And the reason why I wanted to segment these videos into two different things is because this is actually going to be more about Godrick and Stormveil Castle and the Godwyn deathroot that is under Stormveil Castle. So first I want to talk about what deathroot is. I talked about it a little bit in the last video, but it is the root that sprouts out of the Godwyn corpse that's under the capital city of Leyndell, so at the deeproot depths, which we established in the first video. We talk a little bit about that. I take you guys on a little field trip, so go check that out if you haven't watched it already. But the deathroot we find spreads across the land between through the underground roots of the great tree, sprouting in the form of deathroot. And this is super interesting too because it's mentioned at some point that the great tree's roots were severed from the Erd tree. And I'm not entirely sure if that's why they were severed, to prevent Godwyn from spreading, or if there's some other reason. It's interesting too because he was given an Erd tree burial, not necessarily a great tree burial. He's buried at one of the minor Erd trees, so it's a little confusing, but the great tree, or like the leftover crucible, is down in deeproot depths. We get to fight a crucible knight there, and we get to see like this hollowed out great tree that kind of looks like the Erd tree but a little bit smaller, so I'm assuming that's the great tree. But that being said, that's mainly just speculation, so I'm gonna move on. But something super interesting about the spread of deathroot that I showed in the last video is that you can see Godwyn's face in the lumps and mounds around the lands between. And then somebody else also pointed out that the Godwyn crabs aren't exclusive to the moat that is above Godwyn's corpse. They're actually in Liurnia too, where there is deathroot sprouts. So it seems like no matter where deathroot is sprouting, Godwyn can latch onto life forms and replicate himself, no matter where he's at. So that's pretty spooky, pretty dangerous. But I want to talk about this guy, this deathroot that's underneath Stormveil Castle, because we already got confirmation in the Prince of Death pustule that the real Godwyn is buried under the capital. Why is there this giant one under Stormveil? Why does it look untouched? Why are there no marks or gashes on this thing? Why is it missing its eyes? I actually don't know the eye part of it, but I do know that the Prince of Death, this like root that is underneath the castle, is actually being used by Godrick, and we'll talk about that right now. So when you go to Stormveil Castle, you can actually get a marred leather shield from one of Godrick's men, and it says that some say it is the curse of grafting which causes such affliction, while others talk of its root being something all more sinister hidden deep within the castle. And it talks about the modeling and marred nature of like the shield, what it looks like. It kind of looks like it has a grafting curse on it. Like, it looks really similar to how things that are affected by death blight look. I wish I could have grabbed a picture. I should have grabbed a picture. But so we learn that the deathroot is somehow linked to grafting, but it doesn't get super into it. We get to piece that together later when we go to deeproot depths for the first time, or when we go to the Erd Tree Sanctuary area in the capital for the first time. When you encounter these gargoyles, if you take a really close look at them, they're actually Frankenstein together, really similar to the grafted scions that we fight at Stormveil Castle. And if you defeat the ones that lead to the deeproot depths, they actually give you one of their weapons that says that the Bronze Twins blade is wielded by the valiant gargoyles. Just like the wielder, the missing parts have been mended with corpse wax, a patchwork of champions. So it's saying just like the wielder. So both the gargoyles and their weapons are mended via corpse wax. So what is corpse wax? It's a type of fat that has coagulated over a period of time, and it can be used to adhere things together. But it seems like if you get fat from Godwyn's corpse, sorry, Cooper's gonna try to bark in a second, so I'm petting him aggressively. Hold on. Look at him. So he's my valiant gargoyle. He's my grunk, obviously. He's my baleful shadow. Look at this man. Okay. Anyway, so you take the fat from like the corpse of Godwyn and you coagulate it and you use it to repair shields and items, but then somewhere along the line, Godrick realized that there was an interesting nature with this corpse wax in particular, and that you can actually stick people's body parts together. And it's not just limited to the Knights of Stormveil, like I was mentioning. It seems like Queen Marika and perhaps Godrick also used corpse wax to stick the valiant gargoyles together. And if you go to Deeproot Depths, there is like a little room that almost looks like a church, and there's a bunch of like torn up, dismembered valiant gargoyles that are all kind of like in this room together, and it looks like they're being stored in there for grafting purposes later, like their body parts are being taken or they're waiting to be repaired. And we see the valiant gargoyles defending specific points in the game. We see them defending the Deeproot Depths. We're required to fight them to take the coffin to the Deeproot Depths, and then they're defending the Erdtree Sanctuary, and then there's one that's defending Godrick. It's called like the Black Blade Kindred. So there's like a few that like kind of defend Queen Marika's situation. So it seems like Godrick also got in on this via the giant deathroot that's under Stormveil capital. So yeah. Ta-da! And that's how they're all linked. And that's pretty much that on Godwyn that I want to talk about. Oh yeah, the basilisks that look like Godwyn. They kind of have like the same arms, the same hands, the same eyeballs. It could also be why the eyeballs are missing. Maybe they have something to do with it. I have no clue. Maybe they hatch from the eyeballs. I don't know. There's no definitive answer. But what I do know is that Fia's mist is really similar to the mist that the basilisks use. And then Rogier also becomes one of Fia's thralls through the story and getting death blight via the deathroot down here. So there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, maybe it was the, I don't know. Maybe Rogier got, there's definitely like a conspiracy in my community that Rogier got by Fia somehow, or maybe there was like, he got by the tree spirit that's down there that's infected with death blight. But either way, I don't know. It's weird that he gets death blighted in front of the death rate. The deathroot. The deathroot. It's weird that he gets death blighted in front of the deathroot, and that we don't get death blighted by the deathroot. So it probably was the tree spirit. I don't know. That's all loosey goosey too, and has like, there's nothing that we can reference. So take that with a grain of salt as well. But yeah. All right. Thanks. Goodbye. Bye.